Hey everyone, it's Michael Kikle. I hope you're doing well today, and I wanted to talk about the recent news from a few weeks ago that was announced that apparently Mike Flanagan has written a screenplay, a script, whatever, for Clayface. Yeah. And now James Gunn has greenlit that project because the script is done, it's what they want, and they haven't really said much more about what the general plot is. I assume since it's a Clayface movie that it'll be about Clayface, but it'll be more like, if I had to bet, it'll be an anti-hero movie, like Venom, like Morbius, Kraven the Hunter, I assume. I haven't seen that yet. I'm betting it's going to be more like that. An anti-hero film, because Clayface was portrayed like that recently in the Rebirth run of comics. Now, I haven't read the new stuff, but the Rebirth stuff, the general halfway through the Rebirth comics for Detective Comics, he was working with Batman and the Bat Family. I don't know if I want that. But Mike Flanagan wrote it, which means it's probably leaning more towards an indie horror feel. You know, that could be kind of cool for anybody who doesn't know. Mike Flanagan, in my opinion, is a huge horror fan. He is a great creator, a great writer. Did the Haunting of Hill House remake for Netflix years ago, the TV series. Probably one of the scariest ghost stories I've ever watched in my life. He did Hush, you know. The dude is a genius when it comes to writing and directing. But he's not directing this project, he's just writing it. And sometimes when other people adapt what Flanagan writes, like recently his wife did a short for the VHS franchise, so the newest VHS film, VHS Beyond, I think is what it was called. It was a very sci-fi alien story, and it was the last story of that movie. A lot of the time when people direct something Flanagan writes, I don't know if I like it. It's not very common that it happens, but when it does happen, it can be a little bit hit or miss. Now, I'm getting some weird feelings about this Clayface movie, and from the get-go, one of the first things I said when this was announced, even though I didn't make a video about it, and I wanted to, forgive me for that, I feel like this is not a good decision. Now, I love Flanagan, like I said, big hardcore fanboy of his. I don't think this is a good decision, specifically because everyone has bitched for years at Sony, even up until a month ago, when they released Kraven the Hunter, for doing this like 4 or 5 movie standalone series where they did the Venom films and Kraven the Hunter, Morbius, Madam Web. It's a spiderless universe, you know what I mean? And people have complained to hell about that. They've said Sony were stupid for doing that, and I agree. You know, I think it was a bad choice, even though I like the first Venom movie. I don't think this is a good idea to make a Batman-less villain standalone movie. Yeah, it's Flanagan. Yeah, it could be particularly great. And yeah, I think it's probably going to lean more into a indie horror feel because that's Mike Flanagan, and that's where he really shines, in my opinion. And this whole idea, nobody knew this was happening, by the way. This just came out of nowhere, that they were like, hey, it's a done script, we're going to go with it. So I don't know if like Flanagan wrote this on his own time, or was paid to write it, or what. Up front, I mean. Before a word was put on the page. I don't know what happened with that. I'm happy about it, but I'm also hesitant, because it feels like the same mistakes that Sony made with Spider-Man movies. I think it would have been a better idea to have Venom with a Spider-Man, specifically because the first Venom film, and Morbius, and Madam Web, from what I've looked at it, I haven't seen the movie, same thing with Kraven, that looks like a universe to me that were clearly modeled after the Amazing Spider-Man first movie, not part 2, the Andrew Garfield movies. The first Venom film looks like a movie where Andrew Garfield could show up as Spider-Man with his costume he had and everything, and I think it would have been great, frankly. We didn't even get a tease that Spider-Man might exist in that world, you know? We kind of did for Morbius, and that was about it. Are they going to do the opposite with this? Because it's not like two different companies are pulling opposite ways, but if they do reference a Batman existing in this Clayface movie, well, is it going to be like Pattinson, since that Batman Part 2 thing probably isn't going to happen? Is it going to be its own thing? Is it going to be the announcement for the new Batman, for Batman Brave and the Bold? Because there's a potential that there could be a brand new actor for that, under Andy Muschietti or whatever his name is. I don't really know what I think of this, or what direction I think they should go, but I kind of think they're already fucking up by making a standalone movie of a Batman villain that I would be willing to bet is going to be an anti-hero film where he's really actually a good guy. because of the Rebirth era. James Gunn strikes me in a way that, because of the New 52 Superman costume for Superman or Superman Legacy, whatever the movie is called now, because of that, it makes me feel like he's going to be going more towards the current, recent stuff that has been atrocious, in my opinion. Rebirth was a mess in a lot of ways. Some of the Batman stuff was okay. A lot of it took a long time to get going under Tom King, you know what I mean? So I'm a little hesitant about that. I don't really trust James Gunn, but I do like his work most of the time, whether it be the first Scooby-Doo movie, whether it be even Scooby-Doo 2, I didn't think was the most horrific thing I'd ever seen, even though it was messy. Guardians 1 and 3 are really good. Really great, matter of fact. 2 is okay, you know? I feel like he could bring something well to this as a producer, you know, for the DC studios, but I just think this is a fuck-up, a bad decision overall that could doom the series already. I think a lot of these films, even though this has the green light now, they haven't announced a director for the Clayface movie. They haven't announced a plot or anything, which is fine, whatever, give it time. But apparently it's supposed to come out in 2026. So it'll be out before the new Batman Part 2 movie, now that that's been delayed. I don't see that getting released anyway. I've talked about that in my previous video. Pretty sure this is it getting pushed off into cancellation. But then why make this? This Clayface film, because the kind of movies that James Gunn makes in general and what I assume he'll allow to be greenlit, I think this is going to be a setup for the Brave and the Bold Batman, whether it be Pattinson or somebody else. I think it's going to be another character, another wacky, weird character that we could throw in as comedic relief as a side character or a best friend character to Batman whenever that movie comes out, or whenever James Gunn tries to force a Justice League movie out there. That's what I'm betting. That's why I don't really have a lot of excitement for this, because they're not saying, hey, this is a horror film, or hey, this is not, this is going to be I don't know, like, they're not calling it like a body horror movie, and to me, if you're going to make a movie about fucking Clayface, that's what it needs to be, because that's what Clayface kind of is, an actor typically, who gets turned into this molten monster who can change his shape, look like anybody, disguise himself. But again, that concept in general is very comic booky, but it feels like the kind of thing that, depending on who creates it, and I trust Mike Flanagan, I don't trust James Gunn, I feel like depending on how somebody directs that and creates it and makes the movie look, that you could have another Morbius on your hands. I really do believe that. It could be a very messy movie, but I would love to hear what you all have to say down below. Who do you think should play Clayface? Do you have a good casting choice for this? We don't even know that. I don't really know what I want out of the movie, out of a side, obviously a horror, body horror movie, but I don't really know what I would pick out for this. I don't know what I want Clayface to look like. Should it just be a regular guy who, like, can be kind of melty? Should we make it like a mystery movie? You know, what are we gonna do with this? I don't know what to do with it. I don't want like a guy turns into monster and then tries to save his daughter or something type of movie. I don't want that either. I don't think that's the right way to go either. Again, even though I think Flanagan could pull it off, but he's not directing this. Nor do I think I want Flanagan directing like a big budget, CGI heavy movie. Not that this will be one, but I think it'll be more like psychological horror. Again, Flanagan does well at that. But if we're doing a big VFX showcase, which doesn't really matter in 2024 because everything does that, even a regular old drama of people driving around in a car will have CGI windows and shit, you know what I mean? And landscapes behind the car in the windows. So I don't know what this movie is supposed to be or whether I actually want it. I don't think anybody asked for this, but I would say if you're not familiar with Flanagan, at least trust it, because there's a chance that it could be really, really great. Not good, great, because the majority of Flanagan's work, in my opinion, has been fantastic. Not just the things I listed off earlier, but some of his other work too. The guy can be really brilliant. Very rarely do I find myself not liking something that he makes, but there's a chance this could be another great one he makes, and him being one of the masters of horror, and in my opinion, the current day master of horror, I think he is the John Carpenter of my generation. I think he is the better quality Wes Craven of my generation, personally. I think it could be a great film. I really do. So I'm hoping it'll be cool. I hope you guys will have some hope for it. And let me know, again, down below what you think about it. Are you excited for the film? Do you think it's going to suck? Do you think Batman should be in this? They haven't, confirmed he's not going to be in it, but I'm pretty certain if you're making a Clayface movie, he's not going to be in here. Maybe in a newspaper article, like a Spider-Man shitty movie or something. I don't know. But anyway, what do you all think? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Thank you all for watching, guys. And again, let me know what you think your casting choices should be. Is this going to be too much like a Sony movie? A Sony-verse movie? I don't know. I want to hear everything you have to say. Thank you all for watching, guys. God bless you all. Catch you later, and goodbye.